What we're doing to implement the executive order, which is working with states to get designation as voter registration agencies.
This chart shows a timeline of how the Biden-Harris administration has illegally used the SBA to register voters in the key swing state of Michigan.
If you had asked, I would have sent you a better picture, but I actually have spent most of my career working on nonpartisan campaigns.
I don't think you're qualified to be dog catcher.
You guys are clearly aware that Michigan is a swing state, right, in this upcoming election?
Swing state isn't something we take into consideration in our work, but yes, I'm aware that Michigan is a swing state.
I highly doubt that.
What was the purpose of the MOU?
The MOU was to implement the executive order and to form a partnership with the state of Michigan so that we could provide a website to small business owners to choose to register to vote.
Is there anywhere in the SBA's mission that talks about voter registration being part of that mission?
Not specifically.
Are you aware of the memorandum of understanding between the Michigan Department of State and the SBA?
Do I have to press the button? Yes, I'm aware of the MOU.
And you read it?
Yes.
Did you help negotiate it?
I didn't. I'm not a lawyer, so I did not negotiate the legal details. But I did.
But did you negotiate the pulp of the MOU?
I weighed in on recommending that we utilize the website to primarily be the way that we, refer people to voter registration information.
Okay, and you signed it.
Yes, I did.
So are you in charge of implementing the MOU?
Yes, the Office of Field Operations is, which is the department that I oversee.
Okay, so what is the effective date of the MOU?
I'll admit I can't remember the exact date, but I believe we signed it in mid-March.
So to be clear, it's in effect right now?
Yes, the MOU has been completed.
Because when the administrator was here, my friends on the other side of the aisle insisted that this MOU was not in effect, but that isn't true because it was in effect the day that you signed it.
It's in effect, but we haven't actually done any of the activities that are included in the MOU yet.
So you don't have it wasn't required that you had a unique URL to actually register voters?
The website does exist. We haven't put it anywhere yet.
But March 7, 2021, President Biden signed an executive order directing federal agencies to evaluate ways to encourage voter registration. And pursuant to that order, SBA signed an MOU with the Department of State to promote voter registration in Michigan. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe so.
What activities are allowed under this agreement?
I believe it designates what we're doing to implement the executive order, which is working with states to get designation as voter registration agencies.
Will SBA employees be conducting these voter registration efforts?
They'll be referring people to voter registration website and working with Michigan Department of State staff.
Does the MOU comply with the National Voter Registration Act and ensure all activities will be nonpartisan?
Yes, we are running a nonpartisan voter registration.
However, the Biden-Harris administration is not satisfied with using this agency for its statutory purpose. Instead, through a series of executive overreach, they have attempted to turn the SBA into an adjunct campaign headquarters. We have a chart here I want to show you. This chart shows a timeline of how the Biden-Harris administration has illegally used the SBA to register voters in the key swing state of Michigan. In March of 2021, President Biden signed the Executive Order 140-19, the Executive Order on Promoting Access to Voting. This EO directed the federal government to use all of its resources to work to register Democrat voters. In December of 21, the SBA reached out to the Michigan Department of State to enter into negotiations to work together on voter registration. In April of 22, the SBA hired Jennifer Kim, a career progressive Democrat campaign hand, as Associate Administrator for Outreach. Finally, in March of 24, the SBA and Michigan Secretary of State announced their Memorandum of Understanding on voter registration. In 2008, you were the organizing director at Fair Share, Inc., a left-wing nonprofit that works to elect Democrats in Ohio. In 2012, you were the Colorado State Director at the Community Voters Project, a Democrat voter registration nonprofit in Colorado. In 2016, you were the pod lead deputy training director at the Hillary for America in Florida. In 2020, you were deputy national organizing director at Biden for President. Ms. Kim, you are now associate administrator for the Small Business Administration. It's certainly interesting that this will be the first time in your adult life that you will ostensibly not be working to elect a Democrat nominee in a swing state. Associate Administrator Kim, can you please share with the committee how 15 years of campaigning to elect Democrats gives you the experience necessary to be an associate administrator at the SBA? How did you get this job? Have you ever owned a small business in your life?
Well, appreciate the opportunity to share my background, Congressman, and if you had asked, I would have sent you a better picture, but I actually have spent most of my career working on nonpartisan campaigns.
But you've never owned a small business.
I've worked in a small business. I've never owned a small business.
I don't think you're qualified to have this job. Looking at your career timeline and trajectory, it's clear that your entire life is dedicated to furthering the mission of the Democrat Party. How could anyone possibly believe that you are faithfully carrying out the mission of the SBA?
My job is to oversee the field offices, so I have over 18 years of experience running field offices, the majority of which are actually running nonpartisan campaigns.
Under oath, Ms. Kim, can
Yes.
you honestly attest that you are not using your role at the SBA to engage in electioneering or to register voters for the Democrat Party?
I am definitely not using my position for electioneering. That would be inaccurate, sir.
Well, I would say this. This is disgusting to the American people. We have caught you guys red-handed. I don't think you're qualified to be dog catcher.
Can you provide the legal authority for why the SBA might have engaged in this MOU?
Thank you for the question, Congresswoman. I believe Congress gave us the authority in the 1993 National Voter Registration Act.
Bio on the SBA website says that you started your career as a stakeholder engagement specialist serving as a campus organizer, and that you promoted renewable energy standards, affordable higher education and healthcare, and toxic-free communities. As a former small business owner, I'm not sure how someone with that background would have any understanding of the needs of small businesses. Your bio also mentions that you have dedicated many years to increasing voter registration in communities of color as well as promoting youth civic engagement. When you were appointed to the SBA by President Biden in 2022, what experience did you have assisting small businesses?
Thanks for the question, Congressman. So my background and my job is running field offices. In my experience running field offices and field campaigns, I have worked with many small business owners on many of the issues that you mentioned. And I've also worked with worked in small businesses as well. Also, as part of my background, as was mentioned, I have a master's in public administration, which is a program that is specifically designed to support people that are managing policy and programs in federal, state, and local government, which is something that I do as part of my job.
Okay, how is your background in voter registration efforts helpful to small business owners?
When I did voter registration work, I was running field offices that were doing voter registration. So my job is to manage the field offices now. So there's a lot of similarities actually in making sure that the offices have the support that they need.
So just to summarize, you have no experience applicable to small business, but you do have a background in voter outreach, and you were an organizer for President Biden's 2020 campaign. Is that correct?
I did work on President Biden's campaign. As I've said, I have worked with small businesses, and my background in field, I think, is why I was hired to manage the field offices.
Why did you decide on Michigan for this voter registration MOU?
I started at the agency in 2022, and the work and the partnership with the state of Michigan already had begun before I got here.
Okay. But you guys are clearly aware that Michigan is a swing state, right, in this upcoming election?
Swing state isn't something we take into consideration in our work, but yes, I'm aware that Michigan is a swing state.
I highly doubt that. All right. You and others at the SBA have stated that this MOU will be implemented in a nonpartisan manner. Is it likely that you will keep your job if a Republican administration is elected?
Since I'm a political appointee of this administration, probably not.
Okay. Have you had any events at all, any cities, counties that have a majority of Republican voters? And if so, can you provide those for the committee?
Have we had any events in any cities that have Republican?
Republican that have a majority of Republican voters.
I mean, we hold events all over the country in all of our 68 districts, so I would assume yes.
Can you provide us with, or can you even give us one county or city that has a larger population of Republican voters?
Again, I don't keep track of every single individual event that we do.
I'm not asking you to
Yeah.
keep track of every single.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, can you give us one? Because clearly you understand what our concern is. Our concern is that what you guys are doing is that you guys are going out under the umbrella of the SBA, and then you're bringing in state officials to register voters in Democrat-run cities and counties. That's obviously what is going on here. So can you even give us one example of a city or a county in which you guys are even trying to make it look like that this is bipartisan and you guys don't really care about the demographic?
Again, we run programs everywhere. I know, for example, we're running a Thrive program, which is one of our small business programs in Lebanon County, which is in Congressman Muser's district.
Okay. What's the registration there? Do you know?
No, I don't track registration rates as part of my job.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I yield back.
How many resources and time did you, and I'm not sure what's so funny, but that's okay. How much time did you spend developing the plan that apparently was never facilitated?
Thanks for the question. Sorry, I wasn't laughing either. There's a photographer that just showed up in front of me, so I was a little startled. To answer your question about the time developing the plan, so again, the work on the implementation of the executive order had started before I got to the agency. It started in 2021. I started in March of 2022, so it just continued. As mentioned previously, it's not something I work on every day. I did because of my
Right, so you spent a lot of time working on the plan, not necessarily executing it, on the taxpayers' dollars. So you're working on voter registration initiatives that you claim you've not executed, but you've spent taxpayer dollars doing so. Okay. How many
crafting the
people
MOU.
report to you?
Around 650.
Okay. Direct reports, 650.
Oh, not all directly reporting to me, no.
Well, that's what I asked.
Well, there's about 12, I guess.
So you just showed us how little you know about business. You said 650 people report to you. That's just sophomoric at best. And it's just a shame that the dollars are being used in this manner. And it's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. And you know it, okay? Maybe that's why the smile is there, because you know it. What was the purpose of the MOU?
The MOU was to implement the executive order and to form a partnership with the state of Michigan so that we could provide a website to small business owners to choose to register to vote and invite Michigan Department of State staff
Is
to
that
our
anywhere
tabling
within
events.
the scope of the SBA to set up a link for businesses of your choice, by the way? And who knows, maybe a business that's trying to get a loan from the SBA and says, they're part of the Biden administration. They're Democrats. Maybe it would be a good idea for me to register and vote as a Democrat so I can get that loan. Do you understand how insidious this looks and perhaps is, and we believe is? I yield back.
What is the mission of the SBA? What's your mission statement?
We're here to support small businesses, ma'am.
Here to support small businesses. Wonderful. Have you yourself ever ran a small business, owned a small business?
I've worked in small businesses. I've not owned a small business.
Okay, thank you. And what qualifications do you have? I was a little vague on that as a small business owner.
Well, my job is to oversee our 10 regional and 68 district offices, and I have overseen field offices for the majority of my
How does
career.
that correlate with running and helping people get a small business loan?
Well, my job is to support the field offices. My job is not to run a small business.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be helpful if you ran a small business to understand what it's like? I mean, I'm not a doctor, nor I play one on TV, but I don't fake it.
Well, I did work in a small business for 4 years,
Okay.
Congresswoman, and I think it was a small business run, by a family-owned business, and I definitely got a lot of
So
experience.
that qualifies you to be in charge?
I think it's my 18 years of running field offices that qualifies me to run the field offices.
I would agree with you. Running the field office is fantastic. Very similar to running the field office for voter registrations. So I want to pick up on one other thing. Is there anywhere in the SBA's mission that talks about voter registration being part of that mission?
Not specifically, no.
Not specifically. Thank you. These are the programs that have been run by the SBA in Michigan, right? I don't know if you can see that, but all of these programs here have been run in Michigan. Southeastern, lower, you see these? Make sense?
Well, I can't exactly see it, but I was, I believe, shown this map when I briefed the committee staff in May.
Okay. Any idea what demographic, political party-wise these represent?
I'm not tracking that, and I think
I
I
am,
clarified.
so let me help you. They're Democrat, right? Interestingly enough, how many, just out of curiosity, in the non-democratic regions of the state of Michigan that you've actually done, how many Republican areas of your department, how many events have you run to open small businesses in non-democratic areas?
Well, there's a couple of things I would offer to answer that question. One is
Looking for a number in Michigan, and if you don't know it, I'll accept an I don't know.
Well, I clarified with the committee staff that those events on that map are not all SBA-run events. I think, I'm not sure, but because I didn't see the list from
Well,
which the
here's the
committee
beauty
got
of it.
them
I
from.
realize you're not sure. The beauty of it is I'm actually sure, so let me help you, right? Right? As a small business owner, that when I come to testify, I would think you'd know your data, but again, that's crazy. Notice any in this region up here?
I cannot see the map that clearly, but I don't see it. But
Maybe I can help.
yeah,
See this green thing here? Can you see green?
I see green, yes.
Bingo! That's one. One. Republican area. One. Isn't that ironic to you, or is that just coincidental?
I don't manage where the district offices do their events specifically. District directors have the
What do you
leeway.
manage?
I manage,
Voter registration in Democratic areas?
we are, as part of implementing the executive order, implementing a nonpartisan resource
You know what I
for
call?
small
You
businesses.
know it's not nonpartisan, because if it was, does this look nonpartisan to you? Just share with me. Does that look nonpartisan? Democrat, Republican. Now, I understand data because I've run a small business. Does that look nonpartisan to you?
Again, I think I tried to clarify with the committee.
I'm
staff
asking
that
a
that does not
question.
actually represent all of the
Does this look
SBA's work.
nonpartisan to you? You're a smart woman. I mean, my goodness gracious. Dan, what's she in charge of? 600 people? I think you can answer a question. Does this look nonpartisan to you?
Again, I don't think that map represents all of SBA's activities. in
Okay,
the
then
state
I
of
will accept
Michigan.
your map. Do you have one?
No, I didn't come with the map.
don't. I yield back.
There's no further business. Without objection, the committee is adjourned.